Hello and welcome into the Pakistan Cricket Show here on Global Cricket Radio with myself, Andrew McLean, and in the co-commentator's seat today is Rana Umir, and Umir obviously is probably feeling a little bit disappointed, but as we alluded to yesterday, it was always going to be a bit of a struggle for Pakistan to make something of this game today. Um, um, but they were in a position overnight when they led by 74, but they only had 3 wickets left. Um, so, Umir, I mean, given that situation and where Pakistan finished up, I guess what did you make of it? Was it sort of as you expected, or were we kind of hoping for miracles that were pretty unlikely to happen?
It was like pretty much like we all knew yesterday what is going to happen today. We did see some sort of runs coming to the bat of Rizwan and Amir Jamal, but eventually on a day four pitch, you can't expect that much retaliation. So eventually they went on to put on just 40 runs, and that was it. And after that, very quickly, the other two wickets gone. So yeah, I think everyone knew before that it is not going to that this test match is not going to last for few hours, and that exactly happened. Like a few minutes right after the test match got over. And the thing is, like as I said yesterday as well, if Pakistan had that total of around 200 plus or something, they could have restricted Australia. But like, see, a target of just 130, obviously the team who's chasing is going to come hard at you. And same thing happened. The way Warner played aggressive shots, he played, and he like just put the Pakistan onto back foot. There was no fight at all. Although in the very first over when Sajid Khan got Khwaja out, so things got excited. Like everyone got excited, and maybe we could just see a flurry of wickets. But Warner was too good, actually. The way he plays, the way he had played in the entire career. So, it proved to be a piece of cake for Australia. Just walk in the park.
Yeah, and I think also probably and I can't say that I watched it, but looking at the scorecard, so as we know that Rizwan and Ahmad Jamal came out overnight, and I forget exactly what they were on at the time, but not much basically. But they did go on for a while, but Nathan Lyon picked up 2 wickets today. Um, and I guess that's probably what you would expect on a fourth day wicket, right? Like he's going to get some turn. He's going to ask some questions of the batsman. So he dismissed Rizwan, caught Warner bowled Lyon for 29, and he also got Hassan Ali bowled for 5, and the other batsmen to be dismissed were Ahmed Jamal, who was caught head bowled Cummins for 18, and the not out batsman was Mir Hamza. So it left it left Australia with a very very small target, and obviously they were going to win at that point. And I don't want to labour the point about Pakistan's batting yesterday, um, but I guess for the way the whole match has been sort of built up. It's all about David Warner, and he lost his cap, and then he retired from one day internationals, and then he got a guard of honor. I mean, you know, I do have respect for David Warner in the sense that he's had a magnificent career. I mean, he was plucked out of grade cricket basically to play for Australia in a T20 match. I think he scored like 80 or 40 in his first match. I can't even remember who it was against, but I remember watching it. Um, and he's actually developed into like a phenomenal cricketer. But I guess the scene was set for him today to hit the winning runs, but wasn't quite to be, was it?
Yeah, it wasn't a perfect ending for Warner. Like he would have liked to score and the winning runs on his home ground in his last and test match. So yeah, unfortunately, he got out. Like Sajid Khan caught him trap LBW. And one technical mistake, maybe from the captaincy of Shan, I would like to point out that he brought Amir Jamal very late. Like he was the fifth bowler to introduced. In the very first over from Mir Hamza and even from Hassan Ali as well. It was pretty much clear that there was nothing for the fast bowler, especially who's got very gentle medium pace. So Amir Jamal should have been brought a lot more earlier. It would have been fine if we had preferred Agha Salman over Mir Hamza or Hassan Ali, but he continued bowling with Hassan Ali and Mir Hamza from one end, which kind of has amazed me and brought in Amir Jamal very late. When a bowler is in a red hot form, like he has
Yes.
two fifers, so and defending such a small total, so definitely you would go with your premier fast bowler. And in the current context, the wicket taker is Amir Jamal,
Well,
and bringing him
I was just
too
thinking about
late,
that. There's
that
also
was
Umir, even in the first innings, he didn't bowl fifth; he bowled fourth. But of course, he got 6 wickets in the first innings. I mean, I'd go a step further and say, you know, if in the second innings of the match, you open with Sajid Khan, albeit he got 2 wickets. He got the only 2 wickets, but it's just madness, isn't it? I mean, Amir Jamal was like literally on fire at the moment, and he bowls after Sajid Khan, Mir Hamza, Hassan Ali, Aga Salman, and then he finally gets a bowl, and he gets 3.5 overs. You know, when the game's basically finished. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people have been quite praiseworthy of Shan's captaincy, but that was madness today.
yeah. A debate could be like Amir Jamal isn't used to ball with the new ball. But again, like the thing is that you're just defending 130. You need to take every chance. So bring in your best first for bowler so that you can take a chance and get few wickets and make the match more interesting. I remember comments from Wasim Akram, the great Wasim Akram. He said that it's not like bowling with a new a bowler can only bowl with a relatively old ball, or and there's another bowler who's good with a new ball only. He mentioned that a fast bowler, he should be equally good with both the scenarios. Like he should be able to bowl with the new ball and in the old ball. Even if a person is not good at bowling with the new ball, you should give him chances. And I think in the longer run, they should try Amir Jawal with the new ball, give him the confidence that yes, you can swing the ball early on as well. So he's got the pace. I think he should be given chances with the new ball as well. And the only thing I can think why Amir Jawal was not introduced earlier, that would be the only reason, because we have seen in the past test matches, the last couple of test matches, he hasn't balled with the new ball. But again,
Yeah, okay,
yeah,
but Umir, that doesn't make sense when you're only defending 115,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
If you're going to have a go at winning, you might as well put in your the most likely guys to take wickets. And I actually didn't really pick up on that because I missed most of it today because again my TV wasn't working today, which is annoying the hell out of me. But yeah, when I just looked at the scorecard and I listened to what you had to say, it's just like, yeah, I would have given him the new ball. I mean, he's on fire. I mean, he's up there. Well, I know Pat Cummins ended up getting Player of the Series, but I mean Jamal was right up there, and he comes on at third change. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous, really.
Yes, exactly. So, like Shan is a new captain, maybe like it was only his third test where he was captaining the Pakistan team. So maybe he will learn from his mistakes. But overall, if I talk about Shan's captaincy, I think he has impressed. He has impressed a lot of cricket fans and even the former cricketers as well. I've seen few tweets as well, like where they were appreciating Shan's captaincy, especially the way he got Smith out in the first innings.
Oh
It was,
yes, yes, yes. I
yeah,
realised we didn't talk about that on air.
yeah,
I actually only saw it a day later, and they set a trap like Stephen Fleming used to do for Damien Martin and said, well, we know you want to smash it through points, so we're going to stick about 15 fielders there, and if you want to have a go, good on you. And the way that Sean had set that field, and I think it was Bubba that took the catch, and it was not an easy catch either,
Yep.
but yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant by Sean.
Yes. Exactly. And the other thing like I liked about this particular test was the attendance. Like across all the days, we have seen people coming in a number of more than 20,000. Like well, I believe on one day it was around close to 35,000 as well. And even today, there was more than 20,000 people. Obviously, the one reason could be that it was the final test match of Warner, and they want to give him a good send off, specifically when Australia were in a very good position. But honestly, like Australia is one of the country where we see that people come in a lot high numbers, and they really enjoy the Test cricket. And yeah, this was the one another good thing I felt about this Test match.
Well, and I can relate to it in the sense that, yeah, and I'm just looking at the final day attendance. It was 24,222. I don't know how they get that exactly right, but the total attendance was 125,292. So roughly, what's that, about 30,000 a day, basically, um, going into the SCG. And there's obviously a good reason for that, right? In a country like Australia, or even if it was in New Zealand, for example. I mean, I obviously would never get those numbers in New Zealand, but it's the time of the year is perfect, right? It's right after New Year. Basically, everyone takes off 2 weeks holiday, so it is the perfect time. And yeah, they built the Warner thing up a lot, and that probably helped with the numbers. But I want to ask you something else, right? I mean, you're obviously from Pakistan. You live in Pakistan, but I was in Pakistan exactly this time a year ago in Karachi, and um, let's say that the crowd wasn't great. And I don't want to tear strips off Pakistan for it, because I don't think that's fair. Because I was there, and but a lot of people were commenting, making comments from New Zealand saying, "Oh, where's the crowd?" Blah blah blah. Um, and I could see the reasons why, perhaps you wouldn't get a big crowd. Like even in Karachi in early January, even though it's the middle of the winter, it's still really hot. I think the facilities that Pakistan puts out, and I've been to many matches over the last couple of years in Pakistan. I think the facilities are not so much the seats, but there's nowhere to eat. There's no real incentive to go to the cricket in Pakistan. That was my interpretation of it, and so I'm just interested to know what you think, because basically it's exactly the same scenario.
Yeah, exactly. Like you know that it was for like around 10 years we haven't had any sort of international cricket in being played in Pakistan. So there were not any efforts done to make these stadiums upgraded and bring in more facilities. And the other important point is the security. Like you need to cross 3 to 5 layers of security before you get an entry into the stadium. So that also like sort of discourages the spectators to come and watch the cricket in huge number, because everyone knew that okay, you need to like go through a lot of hassle before you actually get into the stadium. So things like that, like they are actually contributing towards like low attendance in the crowd. But it is not with all of these stadiums. Like you might have experienced the crowd in Rawalpindi as well, although the security measures were very high, but still it was a jam-packed stadium when England and Australia visited. With respect to the facilities, yes, we are far behind if we have to match with the facilities, but you see in other in other sporting countries like Australia, England, and even in England as well. So yeah, like things, a lot of work needs to be done over there. You need to make the cricket more attractive, bring
Yes,
it on more facilities for
that
the
that that
spectators.
that's kind of my point, Amir. Like, and I actually don't. I mean, I'm not saying I don't believe you, but my personal experience is that the security is nowhere near as bad as what people say it is. In terms of trying to get into the ground, I know that when Australia came in March 2022 in Rawalpindi on the first day, I know it was a headache for everyone. But I've been to Multan, I've been to Karachi, I've been to Lahore. You know, it's actually not that bad. But I think what happens is that because of a bad experience that happened in one match, it just puts people off other matches. And Multan, for example, was like just even for me to get to the ground. I mean, first of all, I thought I was going to die of heat exhaustion on a bus, um, but that was a real headache. But in somewhere like Karachi, and I'm talking about last year against New Zealand, obviously, it's not that bad actually, um, but I do think that the PCB has really shot itself in the foot by overplaying the security thing. So, for example, in Lahore, and I've been there what 2 or 3 times now. Um, you know, outside the ground in Lahore, there's like multiple restaurants there, but they're not even allowed to open on match days. I'm thinking, how stupid's that? Like, if you know, if I brought my family along, for example, I want to eat something, right? And I'd love to go out and you know let the and as you know, as I'm sure you do know, at the Gaddafi Stadium, it's beautiful around the ground, but the PCB hasn't quite sort of taken that into account yet, and I suspect that's also part of the reason why the attendances in Pakistan haven't been great because they haven't actually allowed the local vendors to even open their shop.
Yes, exactly. Like the point is, Andy, like the incident happened with the Sri Lankan team in Lahore. After that, it has took a lot of time to bring back the international cricket. So now they need to they want to make sure that they do not leave in even a single inch uncovered. So that's
Yep.
why they are taking extra security measures. They don't allow the shops which are located nearby these stadiums to get open. But I think things would get easy once they are able to hold Champions Trophy next year successfully in Pakistan. And after that, I think most of the confidence will, most of the teams will get confidence, and things will ease up. Otherwise, in the current situation, they have to show the security to the entire world that yes, everything is okay. We are capable enough to hold matches. So that's the only thing. Like soon, very soon, I think we would start holding few more matches, few more international matches in Pakistan, and you will see a big change. Even in Rawalpindi as well, you might have noticed that it is surrounded by the food market that is very popular. You will get an experience of very delicious food over there. But again, those will get only open only when the security measures get eased up, and that is totally dependent that how successfully we are able to hold multiple matches and even multiple tournaments involving different cricketing nations. After that, I believe that this will ease up, and you will say the things getting back to normal with respect to security.
I know in Rawalpindi that what you're saying is absolutely true because on day one of the Australia Test back in 2022, I was walking around the ground. Apparently, I wasn't allowed to do so because I had a media pass, but I thought, oh, that just can't be right. But I did it anyway, and so I was on my way to meet you and Asim, and I went past all these places. I couldn't buy anything anywhere. And yeah, I personally I think it's a bit of a joke. I mean, honestly, like if your major security issue is whether there's going to be an explosion in a kitchen in a someone trying to that doesn't stack up for me. The other thing I would say though is that You know the T20 series that was what is it now? More than a year ago, I guess, when England was there, and they had I think was it 4 matches in Karachi and 3 in Lahore, or 3 or 4? I can't remember which way around it was, but I noticed a massive drop off in the level of security when New Zealand came a couple of months later. Not in the sense that they weren't taking it seriously or anything, but it just wasn't such a big thing. And one thing that really caught my eye at the end of it, Umia, was New Zealand didn't have to go through some sort of like private tunnel or something to get out of the country. Um, they just walked into the regular airport, and that in itself I thought was like quite significant, because what was it, about a year or so before that, as you alluded to earlier in the show, New Zealand abandoned on day one, without even playing. Actually, on the morning of the first match, they decided to go home, which they've never explained to anyone why they actually did it. Um, but it does feel that the whole situation in Pakistan might be chilling a little bit, and I hope that's true, because, as you know, I met you at Rawalpindi almost 2 years ago now, and I don't know, I just don't see what the issue is actually, and I think that, although I must say, sorry, I must say, I think that what Pakistan does really well is, I think that the level of security is really good. And maybe some fans get a bit upset about too many checkpoints. But I went to the New Zealand India semi final in Mumbai, and I thought it was absolutely shoddy. I mean, it was just a joke, to be honest. They really had no idea what they were doing. They tried to take my cigarettes off me, and I was like, "What?" I mean, okay, I get it that I can't smoke on the ground, but why would you take my cigarettes off me? And I think that I actually think that Pakistan has the whole security thing pretty well under control, actually.
Yes, the time when New Zealand abandoned the tour and went back, so that was a pretty much unpleasant experience, I would say. I still remember people were starting getting into the queues to get an entry to the stadium, and suddenly they got the news that there's no cricket is going to happen. The team is going bad, and the stranger thing was like they never explained what happened, what sort of intel they got, and even PCB was very vocal about this. And I remember Ramiz Raja was the chairman at that time, and he had a very solid stance that why how can you go back without telling us that what happened,
Yeah,
what sort of intel you got. So yeah, but again, like after 1 year or so they came back and paid a complete tour, so I think that should be forgotten now. But yeah, that was pretty much unpleasant. I still remember I had the tickets for the second ODI,
really.
but it never, yes, exactly, not for the first but for the second ODI. I still remember I
Well,
did
no,
purchase the ticket.
I personally don't think it should be forgotten. I think that, you know, I mean, I was lucky enough to speak to. I just randomly met the Australian, um, security advisor in a bar, and I know there's not that many bars in Pakistan, but in was it I think it was in Islamabad. I think it was at the Marriott, and I said to him, I said, what, and we got talking for a little while, and I said, what happened with New Zealand? And he said, look, everyone knows that there's a certain rating and everything that goes on, and if it goes up or down, obviously you got to think about it. But it actually didn't change when New Zealand was there. So when you say it should be forgotten, I actually don't think it should be forgotten, because I don't think anyone's explained it. I think that David White, the New Zealand CEO, is now making loads of money in Dubai doing the what is it called, the ICT 20 or whatever it's called. Um, but no one's ever actually explained why they left. And I know from my time in Pakistan that it really rankled with the Pakistanis because it was such a big deal. And they essentially fucked off on the morning of the match. And as you say, you had a ticket for a couple of days later or whatever. But no, be forgotten. And I'd go a step further. New Zealand's never also come out and said, or perhaps we made an error of judgment, bearing in mind that they went there a year later in Karachi for a couple of tests and everything was fine. I mean, it's not like they were in Baluchistan, for example.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes intel can go wrong. Like, but again, we cannot say anything because nothing was shared. Nothing officially was spoken that why it got cancelled. They just mentioned that they got news intel that something is going to be happen, thing like that, but nothing concrete was shared. But yeah, that is past now. And
Yeah,
the thing you
we
were
we we, we
saying
could we,
about
we,
the
we could we could probably make a podcast about that one day. I mean,
yeah,
I
exactly.
know I know for example, Ross Taylor's a relatively good mate of mine. I'm sure at some point I could have a chat to him and figure out what actually happened on that day. What was the specific threat that led you to, not just quit the match, but leave the whole country? But anyway, that's
Yeah.
another matter. What were you going to say, Umir?
Once there was one story on social media. I'm not sure how much concrete that is, how much email ID. So based on that, you cannot do some such thing. But again, I cannot speak with 100% authenticity. But I think similar sort of stories were like on the social media itself when they.
Yeah, I remember that as well. And, Martin Guptill's wife is a fairly high profile in New Zealand. She's a bit of a TV star. I mean, perhaps not as big as Zainab Abbas or, you know, some of the other people in Pakistan. But if that's a reason to not only, like I say, I mean, yes, maybe they consider that a threat, and maybe they thought that happened. Deal with it, but play. And and I think that New Zealand's actually done a reasonably good job since in Karachi, and then after that, in was it April May, they had about shambles, to be honest. But I don't know how we've ended up getting into that. We were talking about the crowd at the SC, and I'm sure the fans um, are gutted. And I know the Pakistani fans that they're very fair weather. 1 minute they're up, 1 minute they're down, and that's only because I've got pretty much all my following on Twitter is pretty much from Pakistan. But I mean, in terms of the progress perhaps that Pakistan made in Australia, what's your assessment of that?
See, Andy, this 3-0 or whitewash result, that was pretty much like what you can say. We were already foreseeing this. But the good thing is that this team has put up a
It looks like we've just lost Umir there.
sorry, Andy, I got dropped off.
Carry
Can
on,
you hear me
carry.
now?
Yeah, carry
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Okay.
Please.
So, what I was saying that this result is not something we can say that was not expected. Yeah, we all expected that it is going to be 3-0, but the good point is that they put up a fight, and even and MCG and the Sydney test, it both the tests, Pakistan were in a position to win the match. So good to see the fight back again. In the past 2 years, our bowler were not able to take the 20 wickets in a test match. They were not even they were not able to bowl out the Australian team to 10 wickets in an innings, but that happened. Yeah, the only thing is that our batting line should have shown some responsible behavior. The way they got out at crunch situation, that is something which is debatable, and that is not acceptable because most of the guys were having exposure of Test cricket. We cannot say that they were debutants or having the less experience. They have played enough Test cricket, and the way they got out and the pitch conditions and the playing condition were not that much bad. Like I'm excluding Perth Test from this. So yes, like the positives are like we now can say that we have found an all-rounder, a genuine all-rounder in shape of Amir Jamal, who can serve Pakistan in Test cricket. Like after Abdul Razak, I do not remember. Even actually, we did not have any player who can ball with good pace and give you some handy runs as well. And now we've got Amir Jamal. Plenty to look forward for this lad. And like I will again, like I'm a fan of Saima Yu. Like I believe that he should be given more chances in Test cricket in future, because he is one for the future. He plays modern cricket, and that actually demands. Like we have seen Imam as well. Like I don't think like his approach is actually contributing towards team success. Abdullah Shafiq is good. Yeah, he can play aggressively. He can defend as well. But alongside, we do require an opener who can play some aggressive shots and put the opposition under pressure. So yeah,
Yeah,
plenty of positives.
I must say, Imam really disappointed me actually in this series. I've got immense respect for him, and that's on the basis of having watched him a lot in Pakistan. I'm not talking about on television, like at the grounds. I've watched him in Rawalpindi, I've watched him in Karachi. I mean, he's an exceptionally good player, but yeah, I just sort of got the impression in this series he went into a shell, and in the end he deserved to be dropped. Um, but it's a good problem for Pakistan to have, and Saim Aoub, as you mentioned, he gets a lot of chat on social media. But my concern about him is that he's obviously shown in one match that he can play. There's no doubt about that. But I just have this fear that they're going to put him into the T20 side. I don't even know when Pakistan's next Test match is, but it can't be anytime soon. They're going to start putting him in the T20 side, and they're going to expect him to do this and that because um, Fakhar Zaman and Iftikhar Ahmed and all these guys that have been there in the short form game for a while have basically not been that good. So they're sort of expecting him to do that as well, and that worries me slightly actually. He seems to be Simon I mean, he seems to be a bit of a prodigy, but I just have a nasty feeling that he might come unstuck because he'll get shoehorned into the T20 side, and they'll probably have to jig around the order, and I don't know, Rizwan will drop down or Babar will drop down or whatever. But my sense is from what the Pakistani fans are saying is that he is the way to the promised land, and I'd be thinking, I'm not sure that's such a good idea. What's your opinion?
See, the problem with the Pakistan T20 team is that they've got a lot of openers in their squad. And that has been the problem within the domestic circuit as well. The talent which we are getting out of from there, mostly the people are openers. Like it would be a challenge for the team management to see that how they fit in these players in the team. So I believe Fakhar Zaman has been playing as a one down batter and even at as well. So probably they would decide to play him at the same number. And Saima Ayub, I'm expecting Saima Ayub and Rizwan to open in T20s, right? And talk
Really?
about
So
yeah, I'm expecting that to happen. And
you think
Babar at number
Bubble
three.
will stop opening? Yeah.
See, it has to be like yes, they have scored a lot of runs as an opening batter, both Babar and Rizwan. But the thing is that in the crucial matches, we have seen the lack of intent. Not such lack of intent, maybe the strike team management have to decide and make this brave call. I'm not in favor of dropping Babar at all, because we do require some batsmen with a solid technique in your team, because not every time you will get batting conditions. Whenever you get testing conditions, so you do require a batter who can stick around, consume few balls, and play an anchor role. So Babar is the one on which you can depend in T20s. So, like, if you take my opinion, so I will go with Saim Ayub and Rizwan at the opening position, because we have no other options. Because the talented people, the talented batters we have in Pakistan side, and mostly are the top order players.
Well,
Again, the
I mean,
main concerning point would be the middle order, and we have been struggling
yeah.
over there.
Well, I mean, I know the show's getting on a little bit, but of course, Pakistan's about to go to New Zealand, and I mean, I think that Pakistan's probably got the most brittle middle order possibly out of any side in the world. I mean, they basically, well, as it's been recently, whether it be in one day cricket or whether it be in T20 cricket, once you get below number three, it, it it's just so hit and miss. They've got no idea what their order is. You know, that they think that Iftikhar is the next greatest thing. To sort that out, and perhaps from what you're saying is that maybe a very good move is actually to push Bubba down to number three, or even number four actually, just to give some solidity to the middle order. And personally, I wouldn't be opposed to that. As much as I love Bubba and Rizwan, I mean, they're the best ever. Like they're like my bromance. They're the brilliant opening partnership, and they win a lot of games for Pakistan. Um, but I've always felt that Pakistan really lacks an explosive opener. Um, and I'm not sure Rizwan can be that person. And so there is definitely a gap at the top of the order. I accept that. Yeah, maybe Baba could bring some
In T20s, give Pakistan higher chances over there, because in the shorter format, specifically T20s, Pakistan have always been a good team, and they have done good in New Zealand in past. So I will definitely give them a chance. So my gut feeling is that Pakistan should win that series with 3-2. But the only thing is that whatever happened in Australia, they need to put that out from their mind. They should not be thinking about that. It's a different format, different team, different opposition. So yeah, I think that Pakistan have got a strong chance to win over there. They
So
have to prove that.
you,
Especially Shaheen. Shaheen will be very like, it would be interesting to see Shaheen's captaincy, and I think you will see an improvement in his bowling as well. He have done a fair amount of bowling in the test matches. So whatever the problem with his fitness or practice, I think that should have been sorted. Not 100%, I would be definitely, the technical support or medical support would be required, but the more you bowl in the games, the definitely you get better day by day. And he's kind of a person, we have seen what he has done with the Lahore Qalandar in PSL. As soon as he became captain, his performance as an individual improved as well, and he was very aggressive captain. So I'm looking forward to see Shaheen's captaincy. Pakistan should be fighting with New Zealand and should come out as a winner in that series. That is my gut feeling.
well, I'm also looking one should be captain, but that's another matter. But I also think that it's a great opportunity for Bubba just to go to New Zealand, chill for a bit, not take it too seriously, and just bat. And when you said it's going to be 3-2, I wouldn't bet against it actually, because New Zealand, as we tend to do these days, we don't select a squad for the whole series. We say he's going to play this game, he's going to play that game. So Williamson, for example, is going to play, I think, the first and second games, but not the third, but the third and fourth. And I think New Zealand is, selling its fans short by not playing its proper side. They didn't do it against Bangladesh, and we know what happened there. So I do think that Pakistan's got a really, really good chance in New Zealand, and I think even though they didn't do that well in Australia, and I know it's in a different format, but I thought the bowling effort in Australia was tremendous, and I think that with Shaheen leading the side, um, I think they've got a great chance. But anyway, we'll be talking about that in a few days' time, Umir. This has gone on a little bit longer. we talked. We were expecting to talk about the truncated day in Sydney, but we've gone on to a few other things, which is great. That's what we like to hear on
Yep.
Global Cricket Radio. So, hey, thanks, Umir. Thanks very much for joining me over the last 4 days, and I think that we're going to catch up fairly soon when Pakistan lands in New Zealand. So that would be
Yep.
that would be absolutely brilliant. And so from me and Amir here on Global Cricket Radio, we're signing off. We'll catch you soon.